guys? Superhero Movie Reactor here, and shout out to SpinoDino who gave me a reaction request for what was it again? The can't say it. The best Marvel and Sector 5, all Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. I'm gonna do 3 videos of that right now, just for the night. All right, and yes, as I said before, shout out to you, SpinoDino. Thank you so much, and can't wait to react to this. Let's give it a try, shall we? And here we go. Let's see if we can work this out. All right, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Booyah!
Another episode of Fantastic Five, the show where we tell you the absolute correct 5 answers to a particular topic in comics, and you tell us what we forgot and how wrong we are in the comments. This week's Super Special Spectacular is about the top 5 Marvel Supermen. Superheroes are a dime a dozen in comics, but there's only one Superman, give or take. Superman is not only the first and greatest superhero, he also basically defined the genre. So it stands to reason that DC Comics' distinguished competition would be silly not to try to come up with their own version, and they have definitely tried. These super pretenders have achieved varying levels of success, but today we are going to sort out the 5 best. Number 5, Moral Man. Even though a name like Moral Man makes it obvious that a little bit of fun was being poked, he's such an obvious addition to Marvel's wannabe Superman collection, we can't ignore him. First introduced in 2005's Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 13, Ethan Edwards was an alien whose father sent him to Earth as a baby and was found by a kindly couple from Iowa who instilled the values of virtue and responsibility in him. Oh, and morals as well. Then he moved to the big city to become a newspaper reporter. Sounds pretty familiar, right? The big difference here was instead of being Kryptonian, Ethan was a Skrull, and his scientist dad installed all kinds of powers in him so that he could conquer the planet. His adopted parents' old-fashioned Midwestern parenting was too much for any Saiyan-style programming, however, and he used his powers for good. Except when he changed his name to Virtue and joined the Revengers for a minute, but hey, we all have bad days. Number 4, Gladiator. Take away the mohawk and the purple skin, and it's not difficult to see the striking visual similarities between Superman and Marvel's Gladiator. They both think that capes and primary colors are the way to go when putting together an action ensemble. And with all the superpowers they have, it'd probably be foolish to try to tell them otherwise. Creators Dave Cockrum and Chris Claremont introduced Gladiator in Uncanny X-Men number 107 as an homage to Superman, and even went so far as to make Gladiator's real name Kal-El, which is an amalgamation of Superman's real names Kal-El and Clark. The most interesting difference between Superman and Gladiator is that while they both pretty much have the same amazing collection of superpowers, Gladiator's power levels are directly linked to how committed to a purpose he is, which is basically a fancy way of saying that the more swag he has, the better his powers work. So if you ever find yourself in a fight with Gladiator, try to make him think his mohawk looks stupid if you want to have any hope of surviving. Number 3, the Blue Marble. The story of Adam Brashear, aka the Blue Marble, asked the question, what if Superman had showed up in the 60s, but instead of being an alien, he was black? Adam was an all-American athlete, scholar, and war hero who gained incredible anti-matter powers. Being a great guy, he decided to make a cool costume and use those abilities for the benefit of mankind. Being a smart guy, he knew that a lot of people in the 1960s were way more afraid of an African-American with a lot of power than they were of an alien American, so his costume completely covered his face. His fears were confirmed when an epic battle damaged his costume enough to reveal his race, and the resulting public outcry caused President Kennedy to ask Adam to retire the Blue Marble. The good news is that eventually his archenemy forced him out of retirement, and now he's back and a member of Marvel's brand new The Ultimates. Number 2, Hyperion. This one gets a little complicated, but we'll try to get you through it without anyone's head exploding. Hyperion was first introduced in Avengers number 69, as part of the villainous Justice League analogs, the Squadron Sinister. A second Hyperion showed up a few years later, but this one was from an alternate reality and was a member of the heroic Squadron Supreme. Then there was the version for the mature reader's universe, the zombie version, and the even more evil than the original version, known as King Hyperion. Recently, Avengers writer Jonathan Hickman introduced yet another version from yet another alternate reality. I assume so we could have Superman on the Avengers without having to talk to anyone from DC. All of these various Hyperions have their own stories, and we don't have time to get into that, but the thing that really puts Hyperion in the upper echelon of Marvel's phony Superman Hall of Fame is the fact that he's the phony Superman Marvel has been going back to again and again since the 60s. Congrats, Hyperion. You've been Marvel's favorite knockoff Man of Steel for over 40 years. And number 1, the Sentry. Hyperion and the Sentry were pretty much neck and neck for the top 2 spots, but sometimes a tough choice has to be made. The cape, the bright colors, the powers, even a big S. Sentry certainly shares a lot of striking surface-level similarities to Superman, but so do most of the characters on this list. For my money, there are 2 important things that set Sentry apart: stunts and the Silver Age. In 2000, Marvel attempted one heck of a publicity stunt by trying to convince the world that the Sentry was a major Marvel superhero that predated Fantastic Four #1, and had somehow been completely forgotten by both the Marvel Universe and the real world. I don't know if people actually bought it at the time, but they even got Stan Lee in on the shenanigans to give hazy, half-remembered recollections of the character, his exploits, and his creators. Hey, you gotta respect that showmanship just to try to introduce another Superman knockoff. The other big reason is that for all their similarities, the other would-be Supermen are lacking a past filled with the kind of fun, crazy adventures Superman had during the Silver Age. The Age of Sentry miniseries gave a taste of that to Sentry, and it's hard to underestimate the power of seeing a hero fight against a giant bear controlled by a bad guy with 3 brains stacked on top of each other. That's it for this week. Check back next week when I'll probably list 5 more awesome things. Thanks for watching this episode of Fantastic Fives. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Comics Alliance for more comic facts.
That's a lot more to
Check
watch.
out comicsalliance.com for more comic awesomeness.
I think I'm gonna look it up for the next day. Alright, yeah. The truth in mind here is that I love to read comic books, but I read so far the Ultimate Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know if I read the Superman comics or the DC comics. I love to see the TV shows and all that stuff, but I never get to read the DC comics. Marvel, for instance, I think I've read just the Ultimate Spider-Man. That was my first one to watch. And before that, it was one of the X-Men comics. I don't know if it was called the Ultimate X-Men or... yeah, something like that. But before that, my first one, let me tell you, my first one was all the X-Men movies. When they started in 2001, I had the prequel comic book before the movie came out, and afterwards I spoiled myself by reading the X-Men movie comic. That really, I was like, you know what, I shouldn't have read this. This is a movie. I would have waited till I read it afterwards. And yeah. I wish I can go back in time and not do that again. But so far, the X-Men movies was pretty cool. Some people say they don't like it because it doesn't go true to the comics. I understand that, but I still love the movie too. I mean, X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, not so sure about that one. That's why Days of Future Past has been resetted. They reset it, and I cannot wait to see X-Men Apocalypse, see what's going on with that one. I hope they introduce Wolverine too. Alright guys, I guess that's it. And if you like my reaction, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to comment below. And also check my merchandise in the description too. So, t-shirts, pillows, and all that stuff. I still haven't bought them yet, but I wish I could buy it so I can show you the actual. So you guys can buy it too, excuse me, I'm just drinking my soda. Hear that. So, that's it, guys. This is Superhero Movie Reactor saying, I'll see you in the next video for the next one. Alright? Until then, see you next time.